This past weekend was the 1-year anniversary of the death of Boston Lloyd. And I noticed a lot of people were posting on Facebook and Instagram, and his mom was posting, and his dad, who John Lloyd, was posting. And, it was a sad day. And I was at on a break from my guru course. I give them like breaks every like 50 minutes or so to kind of just, and it's really, I give myself the break because I'm talking nonstop, And I was reading some of the posts on Facebook, and I actually got teared up a little bit because Boston's dad, John, I think I can pull some of these pictures up, put up some great pictures of Boston, throughout the years, and it's really sad that we lost him because, and maybe it's hitting home a little bit even further for me because of the fact that he died of the exact same thing that I'm facing here, which is this aortic aneurysm. It is Arnold Classic Week here at Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, joined as always by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this February 27th, 2023 evening. And Chris, we're here. I can't believe the Arnold is here already, doesn't it? It just feels like we just finished the Olympia.
Well, it's, more important, my kids have been out of my house all day and your kids have been out of your house all day.
and we're working. We're not even relaxing.
Well, that's because we got the advantage of having some clarity of no noise. It's called no noise.
Yeah. I haven't stopped all day. The kids left. They went to the Winona Judd, or Wynona, as my wife says, Wynona Judd concert over in the East Coast of Florida. They stay in a hotel tonight. Grandma came to watch Logan. He's just hanging out. My two daughters went with my wife. They loved it. She said they were singing and dancing the whole time. They had second row seats. So all's good. Happy wife, happy life. I decided that I was going to hold my secrets to becoming a diet guru course when they went to do the concert to, get some work done as Blackman. I got so much work.
Yeah.
So 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I haven't stopped talking yet. And I'm still at midnight recording now with Chris here, this radio show. So
you're a workaholic, and it's Sunday night. I think it's Jay's favorite night. Because he can just figure out what he's going to accomplish work-wise during the week.
I got you. Is that what he does?
My real estate friend calls it Sunday's positioning day. I said, what's that mean? He says, you're going to take some type of position all week, good or bad.
Yeah, you know what the difference is? Jay has no kids and no responsibility other than his business. So he can relax and stay, I wonder what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm like, all right, what time slot do I have available? Like when I have to get to a doctor's appointment, I got to find time slots in my schedule because I'm so busy.
Yeah. I hear you.
Anyway, I wanted to just bring up this past weekend was the 1-year anniversary of the death of Boston Lloyd. And I noticed a lot of people were posting on Facebook and Instagram, and his mom was posting, and his dad, who John Lloyd, was posting. And it was a sad day. And I was at on a break from my guru course. I give them like breaks every like 50 minutes or so to kind of just, and it's really, I give myself the break because I'm talking nonstop, And I was reading some of the posts on Facebook, and I actually got teared up a little bit because Boston's dad, John, I think I can pull some of these pictures up, put up some great pictures of Boston, throughout the years, and it's really sad that we lost him because, and maybe it's hitting home a little bit even further for me because of the fact that, he died of the exact same thing that, I'm facing here, which is this aortic aneurysm. So maybe it's a little too close to home for me,
Yeah, it could be that, and it's the anniversary. Sometimes the first anniversary for a lot of people, is always harder than immediately after someone passes away, because you're still in disbelief for sometimes 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months.
Yeah.
Then when it comes down to a 1 year anniversary, then it hits you.
Yeah, it hit me harder, I think, today than it did when it first happened, because I think you're numb when it first happens, like you said.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're numb, and you don't know how to process it, and it takes time to process it, and
I mean, thank God Boston's mom is there, and for the grandson and his wife Ariella. Obviously, I texted her too, and I wished them all, sent my love for the day, and all the energy I could. It's a tough day,
Sure.
And, I mean, 29 years old, just left us too long, too early.
Baby.
Yeah.
You got your birth certificate, and you have your death certificate, and you have, your life in between. And sometimes it's 20 years, 40 years, 80 years.
Yeah.
You never know.
I used to love that shirt he used to wear. Natty enough. There's Muscle Beach. That's 2020. Wow. This is Dad, John, with the grandson. That's an oldie.
Yeah.
Look how young. I think that's when I helped him when he was 19.
Dave, I used to follow his father, John, when he was in the magazine. It was Mr. California.
Yeah, and he worked for Ed Connors there for a while, I think, right?
Yeah.
The Gold's Gym.
He was really good. He was just, on the cusp of, being, I guess, a good pro.
Yeah. He had his aortic, and he had an aneurysm too of the aorta. He had that fixed. I talked to him on the phone for about 2 hours about it, and he told me the whole process he went through. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It's definitely genetic.
Your operation is set for the 20th of March, right? Is that right?
March 20th. Yeah. Ah, look at Boston as a little kid. That's great. Great picture. Him and his wife. Muscle Beach. There's my species shirt he's got on there. Yeah, very, very sad day. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little tribute to Boston Lloyd. I know he's watching over us and smiling. So Boston, we miss you. Wanted to also bring up what else did I want to bring up? Oh, I wanted to put this picture up. Hold on. That you sent me.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, we got a little Jimmy accused. Hottie accused us of jimmying up the shoulders.
Well, we're not ready for that picture. I want to do this picture first. Because it looks like in 2 weeks your son put on about 5-10 pounds already of muscle. What's going on?
if he doesn't eat, can you imagine that? What is the irony of this? He doesn't eat enough. I tell him you have to eat, and he does not eat enough. I guarantee he could put on 5 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks eating.
Well, who are you talking to? You're talking to yourself. You had the same problem, right?
Yeah. You're right. Jose put him through a killer workout today.
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah. They did shoulders, chest, shoulders, try, and Freed was just like pumped to the max. That picture doesn't do him any justice.
He looks like he's 25 years old in that picture, Chris.
Dude,
first of all.
Jose said, "How old are you?" He said, 17. He said, "When do you turn 18?" He thought he was going to say like next week. He said, not to the end of the summer." And he said, "Oh my God, you have like 2 years before if you want to do the teen nationals."
Yeah, he can't even do teen nationals because he's too young.
Oh, they don't give me I can talk to Jim. I'll have Jim sign a permission. I'll sign the permission slip off.
Yeah.
And he was brutal strong today, and Jose put him through a killer workout of a lot of volume, a lot of the problem is he trained with Jose today, and he thought the workout was on a scale of 1 to 10 or 100. And when you're that age, do you not want to go right back down to Jose's and train again?
Of course.
I mean, because you're just wasting workouts if you're not training like that.
Right. Now, how far is he from Jose? You know,
one train ride, one 2-hour train ride, hour and a half.
If it was Jay, Jay would take the train every day out to Jose's, right?
Jay used to come up. No, besides Jay used to come up to my house 3.5 hours like every other day just to take a peek because we didn't have like this videos.
Yeah.
And he'd do that, and he was the first person I ever heard, and people probably, I mean, I'm sure other people did it, but he would, like, on back day, travel 3 hours to get to the back gym.
To get to the
that
what?
was at like 19 or 20.
Where would he go?
He would go to a gym like in 3 hours from his house, and go, because they have the better equipment.
Right. Well, didn't he? I know he used to train at Jimmy Dakotas' gym that he had. I think that was a little bit of a hike.
Which body part? It would depend on which body part.
But I'm saying, I think that was a hike for him too. That he went there when he went there.
Yep. He was always thinking ahead, and that's when I thought, like, gosh, this guy's like, okay.
And
he's got
Jay was working back then too. I mean, it wasn't like he had all the free time in the world to be driving around everywhere.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes he'd come up to my house. He'd be up there like 6, and it'd say like 3 minutes, do some like few posts. I got to get to work. Goodbye. He was like 19.
Great. I only had that energy again. I know it. Believe me, I used to drive all over the place too to hang out with friends at night and talk steroids and talk bodybuilding.
No, he comes up to my house for like minutes with all the Tupperware, eat a meal, and like take off. Boom,
I used to drive to Bob Bonham's gym. It was a sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hour drive just for the
Bob
day.
Preston used to train down. Bob used to go down to Bob Bonham's.
Yeah. I used to go with Troy Moore.
I was reminiscing. I was in the gym with Jose today, and I don't know if you have any pictures of it, Dave, but I can remember being so. My son, 17, was training with. Was training with Jose today, high intensity. And, when people, you have to be there to understand what that meant, heavy weight and a lot of volume and squeezing and this and that. But I remember going down to somewhere in New Jersey to train with John Natashak when I was 17 years old with Bob Gruskin, Dave.
Probably at Bonham's gym. It was probably Bob Bonham's place.
We did calves. I was fried after calves. I mean, Natashak did it was just so many sets and squeezing and negatives and squeezing and partials and everything you could think of to destroy the calves. Natashak did, and when it came down to do like quads, I was like, oh my god, we just did calves, the smallest body part there is. It's like doing forearms.
I didn't know that Natashak was a volume trainer like that. What is that his thing?
No, that's how he trained calves. But Natashak was a good trainer, like very dedicated and killer physique. I remember killer physique. I remember it's so crazy. He was 191 the day we trained. I remember because I thought, like, wait a minute, I'm 191. And I don't look like that. That's
right,
you know what?
Right.
No, it gave me at 17. I figured out weight doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah. Well, it's what you feel.
I was
the body feels.
And Natashak was 191, and I'm only like a couple inches taller than him, an inch and a half, and he looked like a crazy superstar.
The question is, who's the guy next to him in this picture?
I can't quite see it. It's not.
Oh, because you're on your phone? Oh, okay.
That is... I don't know who it is. Some Italian from New Jersey.
It's probably someone. I know it's the guy looks so familiar. I know it's someone we probably know too.
Yeah.
That's great. It's a great picture.
Natashak won the nationals when I don't know. I would have to ask John Hansen. I don't know what year he won the middles. He was really good.
Yeah, he had a really tiny waist too.
Yeah, he had quads. He had everything. I think he could use like better back thickness.
He won the Mr. Universe Caesar's Palace. He has a picture up there.
Yeah. So that means he won the nationals and the universe. Yes, that's right. He did.
Oh, is that where the universe was in? Okay, it was in Las Vegas. That's fine. It's funny that they never held it in the U.S. really very much after that.
Yeah, I told Jose, I said Natashak had the best delts and the best calves and the best hair.
Isn't it crazy? And he lost his hair. At least he's got his calves still. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. What else did I want to bring up? Let me look at my cheat sheet. Oh, I wanted to tell a funny story. So we have this crazy neighbor across the street, Chris. No one likes the guy's a little kooky. I actually like the guy, but he's one of these, guys that like. It depends what mood you get him in. He's a little kooky. And
did you sell? Is it the house? Did you sell him the house?
Not the house right across. It's the house across the street and to the right of it. So it's across the street from my other property, the one that is empty, the empty lot.
Yeah.
So we own. It's weird because we own the road and across the street because it's just weird. So it's kind of looks like it's part of his property, but we actually own like this little strip of land. There was all these like trees and weeds growing on. So, we were cutting down stuff. So my wife had them cut down that stuff. And he was having a nervous breakdown because it was blocking. In other words, it was the onus of my responsibility to give him cover to his house. Now that his house didn't have enough cover for his liking, which doesn't really matter. It was my property. So he claims that I guess there was a tree that one of the trees that they had cut down, the stump was laying supposedly on his property line. And it was laying in a huge puddle. There's like a swampy puddle there. So my guy couldn't get his machine in there to pull it out because it was so wet. And so we told him, look, when it dries up a little bit, we'll pull it out of there for you. He was having a nervous break, like a retard fugue, about this tree stump. So finally he out of nowhere, he puts we get a letter in the mail from him saying that, basically a shakedown letter saying I'm going to sue you if you don't pay me for the stump removal and then all having to replant my whole property with trees to give myself cover now. And he was charging me for hand watering his trees. It was like he wanted $4,000 from us. I said, this guy's out of his mind. So I basically just tore up the letter and threw it in the garbage. So of course we get served like small claims court, $4,000 with all his little things.
Yeah.
So my wife's, I'm going for surgery next month.
You got bigger fish to fry.
We're busy, I'm like, so Amanda's getting stressed out about it, which I understand because, this was the whole thing. He didn't sue me or us. He sued her, specifically her, because she's the one who was dealing with him. And he didn't like the fact that she basically said, look, there's nothing we can do about this right now. It's wet, and she basically gave him the matter of fact answer. Whereas, me, I always like smooth people a little bit. So he sued her. So that was it was like a little dig on her. So she was all stressed. So, I said, you know what? I said, I can't take this thing. I can't take the stress. I said, I'm going through a lot of stuff. So I went over to his house against better judgment, right? And I said, look, Daryl, I said, we live across the street from each other. We got to live here for the rest of our lives, okay? However long that might be. I got surgery next month in my heart. This is not a priority to me. What can I do to make this thing go away? Can I give you some money? Oh, give me $4,000. I said, Daryl, no judge is going to award you $4,000 for you replanting your whole property and all the other craziness you put on there. I said, how about I give you $300? He's like, I said, pay for the stump removal. No, because I said, listen, because I'm a nice guy and I'm in a good mood today, I'll give you $500 cash. Just let's make this go away. Okay, please. I'm asking you nicely. It'll really mean a lot to me because it'll reduce the stress in my household. Okay, and my stress and your stress. His wife is sick and she's got something wrong with her. So, nope. He's like, I said, Daryl, the courts are not going to give you $4,000. He's like, let's let the courts decide. I said, fine. I said, I offered. I tried to be the better person, and I left. Drove off. I was so I should never have gone over there.
Yeah, he sees it. He'll see it as weakness.
I know it was the right thing to do, but I just because now everyone in the neighborhood's gonna be mad at me that I try to go over there and fix this thing because they're gonna see you should have just said fuck him, and that's not me.
He's a bully. You should have bullied him back.
I'm a diplomat. Okay. So the next day, my wife hires this the surveyor to come out and see the property line so that when she goes to small claims court, she can show them that the stump was removed from our property and not his. The guy comes out, Chris, and he starts doing they got to look for the pin. Now, the pin in the ground is linked to a GPS coordinate. You probably know this because you do real estate. So it's an absolute certainty, where these things are. So he comes out and he's doing all this stuff, and it turns out that this moron replanted all these plants that he replanted, these trees that cost thousands of dollars, on my property. I own all the property.
I would sue him tomorrow.
No, there's no suing. So he's out there because the surveyor's out there, and he's like going crazy, and the surveyor guy is like, he's like doubting the survey guy. The survey guy's like, this is what I do for a living. This is GPS linked here.
Yeah.
And he's showing him where all the pins are, and he's showing how to measure. And so, of course, I can't keep my mouth shut. I'm like, see what happens when you get greedy? You could have had $500, I said, in your pocket. But no, you wanted it all. I said, now you get nothing. And the trees you planted are now mine because you planted them like an idiot on my property. He's like, I'm going to go dig them up. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not coming to my property.
We'll shoot you.
So we called the sheriff's department. The guy came, and the surveyor showed him the property things. And he's like, you can't touch these trees, sir. I'm going to come back and arrest you.
Yeah, you got to put up a private property sign and send a letter certified.
Well, no, he knows, and the sheriff warned him. So now he can't. If he does it, the guy is just going to come back and say, you didn't listen. And so
you have, what do you have? Stand my ground to stand your ground rules, where if you can shoot him.
He's like, so he says to me, he goes, I'm still going to court. I'm going to win. I said, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, he is out of his mind.
He goes, you're crazy. You'll see I'll win. I'm like, I'm crazy? I said, no, the judge is going to think you're crazy when he finds out that you planted trees on my properry.
And what did your wife say that when she found out that his trees were planted on your
property? She was yelling at him too. And she's like calling she's on the phone with the police. She's like, because this nutcase carries a gun with him. He walks around with the gun holstered.
Of course. Shows it.
My wife's like, this man, he's got a gun, he's talking irrationally. That's why they sent the sheriff over there. So, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But it was poetic license because I offered. It was like he had the money in his hand, but he was so greedy that he couldn't take it. Now, not only did he lose that money, and he's going to lose the case, but he lost his trees that he spent, whatever $1,000 to buy because they're on my property.
That's a great lesson for, be careful of being greedy.
So
right? I lose it all.
Yeah. So I felt redeemed. I felt like, you know what? I did do the right thing, and somehow God, whatever you want to, say, rewarded me by saying, you know what? You try to do the right thing. Here's your reward, and it worked out for the best. And so have faith, people. If you do the right thing, usually things work out in your favor. So that's my feel good story for the day. All right. I wanted to also talk about, you want to talk about Chad first and Ramy?
I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about.
All right. Let's talk about it. So Chad Nichols, who's Ramy's coach, your nemesis for the last 30 years. You've always had athletes competing against his athletes. Jay Cutler would compete against Ronnie, and for many, many years, obviously, you had that rivalry going. But at the end of the day, we all love each other. Chad, you, me, we're all in good terms. But Chad went on the Olympia TV program with Tarek El Gunti and Cormier, and they did a great job, by the way, interviewing him. I thought it was a really good interview, and I did a little video reaction to it. But Chad was saying that Ramy was constipated, couldn't take a dump basically a week out from the Olympics.
A constipation product to your right, the viewers left, which is about the only product I take, which is called Fiberlize. If you can't go to the bathroom, you can with Fiberlize. But go ahead.
I told Sid to reach out. Sid and Ramy are friends. So I told Sid to contact Ramy, tell him I'll ship him some Fiberlize to his wherever he is. If he's at DJ, I don't know if he's at DJ. Where is he staying? Is he at DJ's? Is he at Chad's house? Where is he?
I don't know. Who knows?
Is he at Arnold's house in California somewhere? I don't know. I would imagine he's in the country already, right?
I don't know. He's been keeping a low profile, right?
Yeah. Well, he's been posting pictures and stuff.
No, he's at the stem cell clinic.
Yeah. We're supposed to have the stem cell guy, I think, on the TV show this coming week. I have to confirm that though.
Make a prediction. Make the stem cell guy make a prediction.
Well, Chad said that the divots that were in his quad, they were all gone. So
yeah,
I don't believe the stem cells fix that, but
yeah. Well, you can tell the stem cell guy that I don't believe that, but go ahead.
I think he's still in Egypt, Ramy. I see he's going to be on something on Sunday here. Seems odd that he wouldn't be in the U.S. by now, right?
Well, I mean, the show's still, what day is today? 6 days out. We're close. We're very close.
Well, I'm just saying, just in case, he had like some flight issues or something like that. This is live before the upcoming Arnold Classic from the Heart of the Heart this Sunday, 9 p.m. Egypt time. I don't know what this is. It looks like Egypt radio here. I don't know.
Do you still have to take a COVID test to get into the U.S., Dave?
I don't think so anymore. So Ramy's going to be, this is in April. That's something different. Let's see. Is this recent or is that old?
It's old. That's everywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Chad said that Ramy's back is 20% better than it was. He said that Ramy is in a good mental place, but he didn't go as far as to say that Ramy's going to win the show. He said that Ramy's ready to do damage at the Olympia. So they're kind of like already talking about the Olympia, and the Arnold hasn't happened yet. But no one's saying that this is a slam dunk. I'll say one thing, and then I want your comment on it because you're usually pretty good. Chad said that Ramy is 310 pounds right now and, in good shape. So how do you interpret that statement?
That he's probably 310 at night, which means he probably wakes up at 3:03.
Yeah.
He's in good shape. But,
is
you got to
be contest ready?
You got to be in lights out shape for this show.
You
got to be in, Dave, lights out.
Oh, he also said that DJ and Ramy had changed, I guess DJ really, but DJ had changed up some of Ramy's posing without telling Chad, and that he was trying to position him better so that his back would look better. And I guess they were overarching backwards, they felt, and Chad felt it.
What happened is anyone can see it. He was trying to, on the back double, he was hitting it, like trying to knot up the traps.
Yes.
End of story. Because I noticed it. When he hit the back double, he was trying to knot up, the traps to make it look like this back thickness, which just only took away from, there's a deficiency in the lower back, made it look like triple deficient. It killed him.
Yeah, I was looking at his body. I think those lower lats are there. They're just when he doesn't really have a lot of thickness down there, so he has to get really lean to see them. I think at the Olympia, from the way he was posing, on top of the fact that he was holding water and he wasn't quite as dry as he needed to be, that was probably why you couldn't see those lower lats at all. They're definitely there. Because like I pointed out in the video, when you have an injury, you don't symmetrically lose the same thing on both sides. You know what I mean? So if he had an injury, one side would be more developed and one side less developed, like what happened to Ronnie Coleman. I just think he wasn't posing it right. And then on top of that, the conditioning in the lower back area was not good enough. And he doesn't have a lot of meat down there to begin with. So if you can blur that area out, it almost looks like it doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, that's how I looked at the Olympia, like it didn't exist. But it wasn't the issue at the Olympia. I mean, people, be careful what you're chasing down. It was not the issue at the Olympia. People make it like it was the issue at the Olympia.
What was the issue, you think?
Condition.
Yeah, that's it. Now, do you buy the whole constipation thing causing his conditioning to be messed up?
I'd buy anything for condition just because, some people are so volatile with conditions. So, I mean, it could be. I've never heard of someone being constipated and it added body fat and water to them.
Yeah. I mean, it could stress them out a little bit.
This video is not recent for sure.
That's 2020 before the Arnold.
Yeah. So he had you can see there that he had more lower lats there.
Yeah, a little bit. He never really had thick lower lats. And you know what? The muscle does attach low. Maybe he's not training it right, you know?
His lower lats, you know, look, when I helped him, that's not me. That's just because he was younger, 2016. His lower lats were strided, and you can't have strided lower lats.
In condition is what it was, you know?
I know, but he had lower lats to striate. In other words, the lower lats are still not there. You know what happened to? I mean, if you look at Jay from like 2002, his lower lats, to compared to like 2009 when he looked phenomenal when he won, the lower lats are like not even in the same stratosphere in terms of comparative. You know the way they look. He lost them too. It's odd.
Yeah,
they both lost.
Did he lose them symmetrically too?
Yes, perfectly symmetrically. He used to have a crazy lower back with crazy Christmas tree.
That's interesting. I wonder if that it has something to do with spinal compression, you know? Jay got really, what was Jay's weight in the off season?
I mean, he's been in shape at 300, not 309, 3 weeks out. I mean,
look, I got news to you, Chris. I weighed over 300. 300 is not comfortable weight. It's a lot of weight on your body and on your frame, you know, and walking around like that, squatting, you know, shrugging, your spine compresses.
Everything. Yeah.
And sometimes people's nerve roots come out in a weird way. And if they get squished off a little bit, now the innervation to those lower lat muscles might not be firing the way they normally do. And it's not that you're not training it; it's that you're not able to contract it the way you were before. And so that could be an issue. Certainly. I can tell you something. One thing: stem cells ain't fixing that.
Well, you know what, Dave? It's like a honestly, it's like, you know, it's like a foundation in a building that's crumbled. You can jack up the building a little bit, and you can re-pour the concrete, but it's not the same foundation. It's just not.
Yeah. Yep. Look, you know, father time wins every single time. You know, Ramy is not. He's young for as far as his age goes, but he's not young as far as bodybuilding goes. He's what is he? 38? Going to go on 39, something like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's something to be said too for, you know, bigger bodybuilders age probably not as good as, you know, lighter bodybuilders, because you just said you're carrying around all the weight with you. Yep. You know, there's the stress, whether it's body fat on you or, you know, muscle on you. It's like, you know, I'm 200 pounds soaking wet, and if I carried another 40-pound dumbbell on me, you know, all day long, you know, 2 months I'd be half in the grave. Yeah, so when you're 335 in the off season and you're just walking around, it's a stress. You know, it's different than somebody who's, you know, a Sean Ray, you know, who's 220 in the off season and 210 on stage or whatever, and, you know, can look fresh all the time.
Yeah, there's got to be some consideration with that in mind, because we see it happen a lot with big bodybuilders, right? It does happen more often. Look, it happened to Ronnie, happened to Jay, you just said.
Yeah.
Who else? Nasser had some issues, remember?
Yeah.
His arm shrunk up and he had some other issues that occurred. Even Dorian started, you know, having issues, you know.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. I mean, he had legit injuries, but.
And he got out when he was, what, 33? Did he retire?
33, 35, somewhere in that. Yeah.
I mean, he was not old by any means. Right. So if he would have kept going, I'm sure he would have had a lot more problems also. So
absolutely true.
All right. Speaking of jacked, as you said before, let's look at some. Chris sent me this picture of Andrew jacked.
Better be a good one, Dave. We're not authorized to put it up, but you can put it up because screw everyone.
Well, he looks much better than this right now, but you know, we'll put this picture up for now here.
That looks good enough for me.
Yeah, it looks pretty damn good front double bicep pose. Legs look really good. His
midsection.
conditioning is better here than it was at the Olympia, and he still has. This is probably a week ago, right?
Yeah, 10 days ago.
10 days.
Yeah.
Psycho Lewis has been sending me some crazy stuff that they've been doing in the gym. I love to get the videos from him because it's some of these exercises are so creative that he's doing. You know, he's really giving him a lot of stuff to work those glutes and hamstrings. If this guy doesn't have the best glutes and hamstrings on stage after what Psycho is putting him through.
He sent me something today. It was like I don't know, some like leg press machine with bands on it. It looked like he was like getting like
That's
he
the
was.
same thing I got.
I said he looks like he's gonna be. You're gonna like shoot him off into like Jeff Bezos' spaceship or something.
It's that machine that you kind of leg press while you're laying backwards.
Yes.
And he's got these bands on it to keep continuous tension. And he has them going down maybe about 25, 30% of the way. And just, it's all glute squeezing, like all glute contraction. And you can see what it's working. It's pretty ingenious the way he rigged that whole thing up. It probably took him a half hour to set that machine up the way it was set up. And to get Andrew into the machine, because Andrew's like, in the machine, and then the bands are like almost like holding him into the machine too. I think he's gonna be very dangerous on that stage. I really think he's gonna do very well.
He's dangerous. He's dangerous from all angles.
You know why? Because he was dangerous on the Olympia stage. People were getting nervous when they saw him up there, and then they realized maybe his conditioning was a little off. But just seeing him stand there in the lineup, he's so impressive that I think a lot of people thought he was going to be higher until we analyzed every aspect of him and realized that maybe he needs to be tighter from behind. But
he's got lower lats, and his lower lats will be strided up the yin yang.
Yeah, I think he's going to be crazy dangerous. He's going to probably be the most dangerous guy in the lineup. I'm not saying he's going to win, but he might be the most dangerous new guy in the lineup because no one's seen this guy in shape yet. He won 3 shows, and he wasn't in shape. Imagine that.
Yeah. He's I mean, the best quote, my son trained with Jose today, as I said, started out the show. And, I said, Jose, that was such a good workout. And my son's a quick learner. Jose would say, like, squeeze this, lift the chest up, do this, and you'd see him do every single thing. So the point being is that Jose put him through the workout with heavy weight and was showing him how to use the weight to put the stress on the muscle rather than just moving the weight or just lifting weights. And, it's fine tuning and it's a gray area. And, Chris's quote from last week's show was, I think Andrew was not bodybuilding before, which I get it. It means that he was training heavy, hard, this and that. But, Chris is showing him how to bring out the best in each workout, which means feel what you're doing while trying to go as heavy as you can. Heavy's always better when you can feel what you're doing. And, sometimes you need someone like Chris, like a coach, to show you, to be there with you, or Jose to be there with you, step by step to show you, okay, this is what you're trying to feel in this exercise. And I think it's going to make a big difference. Well, I know it already has. Yeah. I can't wait for the show.
I remember reading an article, and you'll probably even remember the article. I think it was in that Muscle Training Illustrated magazine that used to have. And Grushkin used to submit pictures, and I always knew they were Bob's pictures because for some reason Bob's pictures were so colorful. You ever noticed that about Bob's pictures?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And he always had the guys in these like pinkish, tights, and very colorful tank tops, and I just knew it was a Bob picture. I'm pretty sure it was Victor Terra, and he was on the floor doing like a hurdler stretch, where you put your leg back behind you and you kind of put one leg forward and you lean forward. You know the picture? And his quads was so huge.
They were fat.
Massive. And I remember reading this mag. It had to be in the late 80s. This had to be.
Me and Jose.
89, somewhere 90, somewhere around there. And I'm like, holy mackerel. I can't even imagine ever having legs like this, but that I would love to have legs like that. Now, obviously, at some point, many years later, I did have legs, that were comparable to that. But I never forget that picture. Well, I just pulled up Nick Walker's page because I want to talk about him
Yeah,
next.
they have similar looking legs.
And when I saw these legs, I thought
me and
right
Jose were talking about Victor today. How's that? You brought it up.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength, all of us. That's his last leg workout. He's leaving for Ohio tomorrow, he said, to get settled over there. And that's a pretty damn good pair of legs, if you ask me.
Yeah, he has very good legs. Yeah, very good.
They're like ridiculous. And you know what the funny thing is? People with the fucking making fun of his veins in his legs, in his lower legs, they're not bad. He doesn't have it. He just has a lot of veins in there, you know?
Yeah. I just make fun of his confidence. I don't like it.
Well, he's predicting victory at this show too, right?
Oh, is he predicting? See,
I'm pretty sure he predicted victory. Yeah.
I don't like him at all. Great guy.
Is he the guy that
I don't like your confidence because it's
too accurate.
I said it's genuine. I like, because I hate
too accurate
when it's not genuine, and his confidence is genuine. So I pulled the opposite. I said I hate genuine confidence.
Yeah, no. It also sucks when the person's usually right about what they predict.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that Nick Walker has to be the guy to beat at this show. I mean, he's my favorite going into the show.
He has to be simply because he's on the trajectory of he won he's won an Arnold. He came into an Olympia and got fifth. Arguably could have been a spot higher maybe.
Came back and came in third.
Followed it up much better this year. Much better. Much bigger, which is kind of shocking. And I think a much better bodybuilder, more balance, more flow to his physique, great condition, highest placing guy at the Olympia. He's the 100% odds on favorite to win the show. And I think if anyone argues with that or just, they're not thinking straight. I mean, he was third at the Olympia and he's won it before. So he has to be considered the favorite. And he's the guy that's, improved, I think, just leaps and bounds from year to year. I mean, I've said it on this show. I thought when he won the North Americas, I thought he was going to be like a second tier pro.
Right.
And here he is like absolute prime, number one contender for everything that he enters.
And this is not a flashy lineup either. This is a great lineup we're going to see. But you know what? He's so complete too, Chris. He really doesn't have any weaknesses anywhere.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I said, look at that. Oh. You know what I was going to say about that shot? Look at the abs and look at the calves, which is most people, you know what? Because most people don't have abs and calves.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are good bodybuilders. Ramy doesn't have calves.
No.
At all. Unless the stem cells grew the calves.
Yeah, but, I think Nick, number one, is so consistent. It's almost like I'm almost saying to myself, I can't believe this guy wasn't intending on doing this show. Like, what was he thinking in his brain? Even if they didn't raise the prize money to $300,000, it was $200,000. Why wouldn't this guy do the show? I don't know. He's young. He can handle it. He's always in shape. He doesn't have to kill himself to get in shape.
Dave, because I'll tell you why. Because even at $200,000, when you're training for the Olympia, there's an awareness in your head. Like someone might tell you, "Oh, you should do the Arnold's only X amount 8 weeks after the Olympia,"
right?
And you can't think 8 minutes after the Olympia. You know what I mean? And a lot of
some time to think about it rationally is what you're saying.
Yes, yeah, and it's just the shows are so close that you can't think of like the second one. It's like saying, "Okay, we're going into a." I mean, ask a boxer. You got a championship fight. Been training for 7 months. There's a good payday 6 weeks later. The guy would be like, "Come on, I got to get past the first one. I can't think about it."
I was talking about this when I interviewed when we had Iron Debate the other week, but with Milos and Mike Francois, and I said, Milos was saying the same thing. How could these guys turn down this much money, even at $200,000? I mean, and I said to Mike, Mike Francois, at 1995, on your birthday, you won the Arnold. You won $100,000. I said, I understand from Chris that you bought your house with that. He goes, I did. Because I did. But I said, and you had no idea that you thought you were going to probably compete for another 10 years. You didn't know your career was going to be cut short. So had you not done that, Arnold, and skipped it, you might not even have been able to buy your house. He said, I know. I said, so I don't know how any of these guys can skip this, because even third place at this show, Chris, is $70,000. So that's a huge payday right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike paid $174,900 for that beautiful house. Can you imagine what $174,900 does not get you this day and age anywhere in the United States?
I know.
$174,900.
I'm sure it's worth a lot of money
back then, but just like.
What I find even funnier is that you actually remember the price of his house.
I do remember, because you know what? It was a spectacular house. So he did end up selling it, and he moved into a more spectacular.
Oh, he did? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yes, he lives in a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood, in a beautiful, crazy, gorgeous house.
Right. But I mean, you can't turn down that kind of money, especially if you know you have a chance to place very high. I can understand why maybe the guys that are the second tier guys, might not want to do it because they want to make improvements and they don't have a chance. But if you have a chance at placing top 3 at this show, which I think all those guys who kind of jumped in at the last minute all do, from Ramy to Andrew to Nick, you have to do it. I mean, Bonak was the first one registered for that show, so he was all in on that one. He's
Bonak decided he was going to do it when Hardy was giving him the elbow. He said, "That's it. I'm all in."
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, you'll be out there with Sid, and you'll be doing all the coverage.
With Sid and Morgan Freeman to do the to
do the wrap up over there, and I'll be watching it at home, of course, and doing my play-by-play from there. But I'm really, really excited to see the Arnold next week. I think it's going to be a really good show. I'm really happy that Arnold was able to entice these guys with a nice paycheck. Yeah, money works. Definitely works. And what do you think about Patrick Moore's chances in this lineup? If you were a betting man, where would you put him in this lineup?
He'll look great. It's just right now it's a bodyweight lineup. This is the way it's going to go down. He'll probably end up getting overlooked because you have people who are, who weigh a lot more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to still have, he says he put on a lot of size since the last time he competed.
Let me do the analysis.
One thing I promised was improvement. Let's go to work. Arnold Classic. Arnold Sports Fest.
No. I mean, he's dangerous in any lineup. This is just a lineup, here's the issue. It's just you have Ramy at 309 a week out, and Nick, 260 a week out, but Nick probably looks 309.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like if in a call out of those 3, the odd man out would be Patrick.
Right. What about the wild card?
Patrick Moore, is he's got quasi unlimited potential.
What about the wild card here, Sean Clarita? Everyone's saying
he is the wild card. He's people should be afraid of him because you know what? He will not be the biggest, but he will be extremely complete for his own physique, and that matters.
Look at this, Chris.
I know. And he will be extremely big for his frame, and that matters.
8 pounds more at a week out from the Arnold than he was for the Olympia. 8 pounds, Chris.
Yeah, I don't buy that, but
you don't think he's 8 pounds bigger?
No, I don't think he put on.
His back looks thicker.
I don't think that he put on 8 pounds in 8 weeks. No.
Well, maybe he depleted for the Olympia.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, 8 pounds is not going to help him.
If he tries to come in too big, that's not a good thing either, because his whole stick is conditioning.
That's what I mean. So he's perfectly balanced and perfectly conditioned and perfectly round for his frame, which means there are not weaknesses in poses there. And other people will have some type of technical flaws in their physiques. You know, the only, you know, I don't have any negatives to say about him. It's hard to pick up apart. If you don't have negatives,
I'm gonna throw a question to you where you can't give the right answer because someone's gonna get insulted. Who's better, Clarita now or David Henry when he won the Olympia?
Clarita. I think Clarita now.
Better legs?
I don't know. Geez, Dave. You know, it's really. I take that back. You know, when David Henry was one hell of a freak show when he was at his all-time best. Yeah. I mean, he had the most muscular and back shots.
Hands together.
That's exactly hand clasp, most muscular, and back double bicep, and you know, just would blow you over with paper thin skin. He looked like he was on 10,000 carbs and no water for a month. At his best, he was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what, Dave? I can remember the music that he posed to. He was so freaky because I remember some show that I went to, and I said, "You got to be kidding me!" But Clarita's freaky too, you know.
Who do you think wins that? Now that you recalled your.
I think that Clarita's not as big as David Henry, and I think that David Henry would beat him on that hands, you know, most musculars. But Sean has also, you know, Sean has other shots too.
There's the David Henry there for the people who don't remember. What about Sean Clarita versus Kevin English? Who wins? Kevin won the 212.
I don't know. English is like banged up looking body compared.
No, not now. I'm talking about when he.
No, even then. I think he might have been the original jimmied up guy. I don't know.
All right. What about Sean Clarita versus Flex Lewis?
Flex,
a little bigger. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, taller width, which may be a foreshadowing for this show. You know, you don't know how people are gonna. You know, Sean's a wild card. Sean's an unknown because Sean Clarita because we don't know how he's going to look against guys who do outweigh him. I mean, weight matters. You know, if I'm saying weight matters with, you know, if weight matters with Patrick Moore, it's going to matter as well with Sean. Although Sean beat Patrick at the Legions when Sean won that show.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting. Hold on, I want to pull up a picture here. What do you think? Let's talk about Ramon Dino. I see you put a picture on your Instagram of Ramon posing.
Yeah. I think he
seems like he's unbeatable at this show. I mean, can he be beaten?
I think he's, you know, at his best. So, I mean, that's all he needs to do is be at his best. It's like a lot of bodybuilders at their best. You know, they're all hard to beat, right? Ramy at his best, you know what I mean? A lot of times.
I'm saying he looks like he's made improvements since the Olympia. I don't know how anyone could possibly beat him.
I think he's got more. I think his back is a little bit better. Back double is better than the Olympia. I think that his side chest, he's got a little bit more chest fullness than the Olympia. He's got more chest fullness than the Olympia, and he's got more back density, thickness since the Olympia. And he's in a good position weight wise. I think he's lower than, you know, by like a pound and a half or so than he was a week out from the Olympia. He's in Columbus now.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
When are you leaving for Columbus?
I'm leaving right after the show. No, I'm leaving Monday morning, super early.
Okay. That's your vacation.
And then I got my jacked out son coming. Did you put the picture up of my son? He's getting ready for the show too. I don't know if they get a lot of mentor.
Don't have to talk about your son.
Did we?
Remember we talked about him training with Jose?
I know, but you didn't put the picture up.
I did put the picture of him up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I put the picture up for you.
I didn't give him any compliments. I thought
I didn't. I thought maybe you didn't want to. I don't know. Hold on. Before we get to your, I'll put your son up again. Urs
Jimmy up
Kalecinski.
shoulders.
Urs Kalecinski here.
What about
Can he beat Ramon?
I don't think so yet.
Is he not big enough? What do you think is the problem?
Ramon's got rounder body parts. He's got rounder quads. He's got rounder shoulders and arms. He's got naturally round arms where Urs does look great in the front delt bicep, with his shape. But that's the first pose in Classic, and Ramon has bigger arms and bigger forearms and bigger quads.
Yeah.
And Ramon has. Oh, here's Ramon texting me now. Oh, with the video, I should put it up online. It's there's more density, I think, to Ramon. There's more natural thickness, I think. Roundness through the shoulders, bigger guy. But, there's no guarantees in this sport. There's no guarantees. People tell me, a slam dunk for Ramon. I don't think so. I think he's a favorite. I think, just as people say it's a slam dunk for Dick Walker, I said, I don't think so. I don't think any shows these days are slam dunks.
I think it's going to be close, but I think Ramon has a little bit more beef to his physique, a little more, freak factor. Let me give him that. I think when I look at Urs, I like his physique, but I feel like it's not, the muscle maturity is not there because he hasn't been training long enough, if that makes sense.
No,
does that make sense?
No, the maturity's there. The size is not there compared to Ramon.
Well, that's part of muscle maturity. I mean, if everything rounds off, the more see, when a muscle grows, it grows long, right? And then when it can't grow long anymore, it starts curving up on itself. And he doesn't have those curves, like you said. Ramon has the roundness. That just comes from training longer. That's the answer right there. So,
well, I mean, it's. Go ahead.
No, I said I think that Urs has some really good gifts. My prediction for Urs is that he's going to be an open bodybuilder one day. The guy's only 23 years old, Chris. So imagine in 5 years what he's going to look like.
Dude, it's I keep hearing that. And just to clarify it, Ramon's only 7. And
he's also in his 20s? Okay.
He wasn't on a plane 2 years ago. So, chronological age in this sport means nothing because it's like.
No, it
does
counts
not
for
matter.
something.
It does not matter. It does matter. Chronological age in bodybuilding really does not matter because, I'm not saying about Urs. This is true with Urs. People can be 23 and been on steroids since they're 13.
True. But most guys hit their peak growth years, I feel, from about 24 to about 28. I don't know why. I don't know if their metabolism slows down a little bit, but I feel like that's when I see the best gains from bodybuilders usually, aside from the occasional freaks that, like you said, that started as, 12-year-olds and they became, really freaky early on. But I always see that the best gains are in those years. Now,
I think the receptors smoke by, the receptors aren't the same at 32. I mean, naturally.
Manuka honey.
Well, Manuka honey with, what did I say? No, it's Muka honey. Isn't it Muka honey or Manuka?
No, it's Manuka honey, right? Isn't it?
Manuka, I don't know.
Did I get it wrong?
I don't know. Muka, I don't even know.
No, it's Manuka honey. Chris, I know these things. Manuka honey. Manuka. It's Manuka. Manuka honey. Hold on, I got to pull up some Manuka honey for you. I think I'm going to start making Manuka honey for Species Nutrition, to be honest with you. I heard it's an up-and-coming supplement. Pure New Zealand honey. Actually, I have people in my development here who are beekeepers. I could probably make my own honey right in my backyard if I wanted to.
They you know what? Their backyard may be your backyard if you do a survey. You never know.
There you go. That's right. Maybe I could just take their beehives from them because they're on my property line. I will sell Manuka honey. I will cure cancer with it. Anyway, by the way, I did use Manuka honey when I had my thyroid cancer. just in case it does work. I was doing it every morning, Chris. I was taking a teaspoon of it.
Well, you know what you get.
I swear on my kids that I was doing the Manuka honey, Chris.
You get a little crazy when you get cancer. You start to when
you get sick, you'll do anything to cure yourself.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I want to thank the guys that took the Secrets of Becoming a Diet Guru course this past weekend. It was a great course. That's why I'm a little hoarse, because I was speaking for 9 hours. I think I really highly encourage you guys, if you want to really be a good coach and you want to have a future making money in the sport as a coach and an advisor, or even just someone who has knowledge, it's a great course to take. And no one else is doing what I'm doing out here. And I think if you talk to the guys who did take the course, they'll tell you that it was well worth their time and their money. And the great thing is now they can go back and rewatch it because the replays are up. And that's the only advantage I used to like to do the course in person, but the advantage of doing it online is that it's recorded and then people can go rewatch it, which is a really good thing. Plus they get my 100-page Secrets of Becoming a Diet Guru manual with all of my protocols in there as well. So thank you guys. And I want to wish all the competitors at the Arnold Classic this coming weekend the best of luck. Have a fun weekend. And if you're working a booth at the Arnold or you're a fan going out there, have a great time. It's one of my favorite shows that I've ever gone to. And I went to that show for at least 20 years in a row. I will probably be back there maybe next year. Obviously, if I wasn't having the heart surgery next month, I would be going over there. I don't want to take a chance of getting sick, right before the surgery. But I know we're in good hands. Sid, Kaz will be out there covering the show along with Chris Aceto. And King Kamali, Lee Priest, and I will be at home doing the live wrap up of the night show on Saturday night. So you're not going to want to miss that as well. That will be immediately following the show. The good thing about this is that it probably won't occur at 3 a.m. It'll probably occur more like 10 o'clock at night at a normal time, because there's only there's 6 classes now at the Arnold or something like that. 3. Well, there's actually 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. So it shouldn't be too bad. They not narrowed it down. So this should be a very what's the term? Palatable show?
Palatable, Dave. Palatable.
Yeah, palatable. You should be able to handle it.
Exciting to sit through because it's fun.
Give me the first call out. Who's going to be first call out Men's Open, Chris? Who does Weinberger call out?
Ramy, Andrew, Nick, Clarita. Did I stop at 4?
You can if you want. Is that who you think? You don't think we're going to see? We're not going to see who we're forgetting here. Bonac? Did you say Bonac?
I don't know. Just you got to see these guys, and you got to see, as someone once said, who's the head judge, Steve. I just I have to judge what's in front of me.
All right. So Nick Walker, Andrew Jack, Sean Clarita, and who else did you say?
It's going to be 4 or 8 or 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's see if you're right. Who's the 4 again? Andrew, Clarita, Nick Walker, and who else?
Ramy.
Ramy, right? Okay. All right. That's it. That's a pretty good first call out. People will go crazy if Ramy's out there next to Sean Clarita. The fans will love that. It'll be like when Lou Ferrigno was standing next to Flavio Bastianini. Remember?
No, Dave. It's Ramy versus that, and Ramy versus Nick. Because those are the bigger.
Yeah. And if Andrew is off the charts, Andrew might actually be the biggest. How about Samson Dowdo? We forgot about him.
Forget it. No predictions, because now
we completely didn't talk about Samson. I got to get your impression before I wrap this up.
When we were handicapping the 18 Olympia, and you and I were talking about this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy.
Who did you leave out?
We left out Rolly.
Oh,
and I said, we left out the biggest guy in the show. And he ended up 3rd and People's Champion, actually. It was a People's Champion that, not Sean, not Phil. It was Rolly, Freaky Rolly. And so, you know what I mean? It's.
You know what the funny thing is? I really like Samson's physique a lot. And I like Samson too. Forget the Manuka honey. Hold on.
Well, that's why I said, forget it. I don't want to.
Well, just give me your impression of what we're going to see from Samson on stage, just real quick.
I think we're going to see the best. The best, that we've seen. And we have to see the best because we didn't see a good Ramy at the show, and there's more muscle on Ramy's physique than there is on Samson. So the risk of him being able to get by the door, is closing in terms of getting by Ramy, even though Ramy may be 40 or 41. I expect him to look great, but it's just this is as tough as a lineup, to handicap and to compete in as the Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
By definition, you're going to get a much better Ramy.
You're only missing two guys. You're only missing, Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin at this point. So
that's it. More or less.
You have a two-time Mr. Olympia in this lineup. It can't get more exciting than that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you have a two-time Mr. Olympia. You have a defending guy. You have a dangerous 212 guy.
212 Olympia guy. Yeah.
Stories endless.
You got Kamal,
you have Kamal, looks incredible, and you have good lighting.
Yep. Well,
and
you'll
have less constipation of the competitors as well. Dave,
there you go. Ramy, we'll send you some fiber lies. Send me your address. And on that note, as we say every week with Heavy Muscle Radio, Chris,
the truth hurts.
Good luck at the Arnold. We'll see you next week.